Tune in for a tale, words that set sail.
Digital Splendor, Literature Illuminated.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most influential books ever written, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Okay, so let's get right into it. It is a little strange, isn't it? Why is a book about ancient warfare, chariots and spies, still a bestseller? Well, the secret is that its wisdom goes way beyond the battlefield. It's all about strategy, leadership, and honestly, just understanding people. This isn't really a book about war, it's a book about winning. To really get this book, you have to understand the legend behind the man. And that story starts with what has to be the most intense and, frankly, pretty grim job interview in history. So the story goes, King Holu had read Sun Tzu's writings, but he was skeptical. He wanted to see if these brilliant theories actually worked in practice. So he challenges Sun Tzu to train the most undisciplined group imaginable, 180 of his palace concubines. I mean, talk about a tough crowd. But Sun Tzu doesn't even blink. He accepts the challenge, divides the women into two groups, and puts the king's two favorite concubines in charge as officers. He lays out the ground rules, explaining the basic drill commands: forward, back, left, right. He asks them if they understand, and they all say yes. Seems simple enough, right? Well, the drum sounds, Sun Tzu gives the first command, and the women just burst out laughing. Total chaos. You'd think the test was a complete failure right then and there. But this is where you see Sun Tzu's mind at work. His first move is to take the blame himself. He says, if my commands aren't clear, it's my fault as the general. So he explains everything again. But when he gives the order a second time and they just laugh again, everything changes. He concludes the orders were clear, the failure was in the leadership. So he orders the two commanders, the king's favorites, to be executed. It's brutal, but it makes his point instantly. Authority means nothing without consequences. After that, the women drilled perfectly. Now the king was horrified. He tried to call off the execution, but Sun Tzu's reply was legendary. He basically said, "You made me the general, and on the battlefield, the general's orders are absolute, even over the king's." He was establishing a core principle. A leader needs the authority to lead without interference. And you know what? It worked. The king realized Sun Tzu was the real deal and made him his general. So what that whole story shows us is that Sun Tzu's approach isn't about just being tough, it's about preparation and logic. And that brings us to his first major pillar, what he calls supreme calculation. This is the art of winning the battle before you even step onto the field. Sun Tzu said that before you do anything, you have to analyze these 5 factors for both yourself and your opponent. Think of it like this. The moral law is about how unified your team is. Are they bought into the mission? Heaven and earth are the external factors you can't control. Things like market conditions, the competitive landscape, the timing. The commander, well, that's all about leadership. And method and discipline is your organization, your logistics. It's basically a strategic checklist for any project. So, by digging deep into these factors, a leader can get past just gut feelings. It's about a cold, hard look at the whole picture, your team's morale, your leadership skill, and the entire competitive field. For Sun Tzu, victory and defeat are never accidents. They're the predictable results of these kinds of careful calculations. Okay, so you've done your homework, you've made your calculations. The next pillar is all about efficiency. Sun Tzu knew that any major conflict is, at its heart, an economic problem. And your most precious resource? It's always time. Just look at these numbers. The cost of a long campaign is absolutely staggering. This kind of daily expense empties the treasury, it wears out your people, and it puts a huge strain on everyone back home. Every single day you wait, you are bleeding resources. Sun Tzu couldn't be more clear on this point. The goal is winning, not just fighting a long, drawn-out war. He famously said that cleverness has never been seen associated with long delays. Why? Because even if you eventually win, you could be left totally bankrupt by the cost. So the goal has to be a quick, decisive victory. Get in, win, and get out. And that leads us to maybe the most famous and powerful of all of Sun Tzu's ideas. This is the one that really explains why this ancient text is still sitting on the bookshelves of today's top executives. This right here is the ultimate goal. For Sun Tzu, if you actually have to fight a battle, it means your strategy has already failed on some level. The true master strategist wins by making the fight completely unnecessary. They win before it even starts. Just think about a company that creates a product so innovative, so different, that its competitors decide it's not even worth trying to compete. That's winning without fighting. And he even gives us a playbook for how to do it. The absolute best strategy? Ruin your opponent's plan before they can even get it off the ground. Think about anticipating a competitor's next move and launching something better first. The absolute worst thing you can do, he says, is a direct head-on assault against a strong defense. It's just a massive, costly waste of resources and lives. Okay, so let's bring this home. How does all this ancient battlefield advice actually apply to us today? To your career, to your business, or even just a personal goal you're trying to achieve? Well, the parallels are pretty amazing. Knowing heaven and earth is just another way of saying, do your market research. All warfare is based on deception, translates perfectly to strategic marketing and negotiation. And that ultimate goal, winning without fighting, that's the whole idea behind creating a blue ocean, a business so unique that it doesn't have any real competition. Ultimately, the biggest lesson from the art of war isn't about how to be more aggressive. It's about being smarter, about having the wisdom to achieve your goals without costly conflict. So here's the real question for you to think about. Where in your life right now is there an unfought battle? A place where a smarter plan, better preparation could let you win without ever having to fight. That is the true art of war.